Alright, here we go. First lot of sand on the DRZs.
Our next big adventure is fast approaching, and it's one that's been on our bucket list for a while. An unassisted Simpson Desert crossing, and we're going all the way out to Uluru. And our weapon of choice? The DRZ400. Based on their reliability and their parts availability, these bikes are just built for doing this job. I've been dreaming of this crossing ever since I took my 1200 to the top peak red, with a view looking back at the Simpson. Heading out there with me is our hard enduro addict Craig and good mate Pato, but we've got one problem, and it's a big one.
Floodwaters, incredibly, are still on the move out west.
Yes, Max, the rain from the start of the year is long gone, but that water is just now starting to reach Lake Eyre. That's a journey of over 1,500 kilometres.
So with the flooding in the Simpson, our trip has been postponed to August. And Craig has been busy replotting the route, which now includes Lake Eyre and Flinders Ranges.
It's another beautiful winter's day here in southeast Queensland, and we're on the DRZ and we're taking it to Rainbow Beach. So a bit of a shakeout ride before we hit the Simpson Desert, bit of beach riding and a bit of sand riding, just to get a feel of the bike in the sand. So looking forward to that. So I'm going up to Craig's place. We'll also be testing the DJI Osmo Action 3, so first time I've used that. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, stay tuned. Alright, there we go. You can see the Action 3 at work. We'll see what sort of picture we get out of it. Okay, let's start this DRZ. Bit of choke. Pretty noisy. So as you can see, it's pretty cold here. It's about 9 degrees. So trying out the Kamani hand warmers. See how they go. Alright. I know it's a bit soft. You can fit your hands through them.
I know 9 degrees doesn't seem too bad, but hopefully these Kamani hand mitts provide some wind chill factor protection.
Alright, here we go. A cool morning.
They simply Velcro on and off, and it's quite easy to get your hands in and out of them and access all your controls. So after an hour of riding, I finally arrived at Craig's place, Hard Enduro Addict headquarters, and I'm happy to say the Kamani handlebar mitts worked a treat. Not bad for under 50 bucks.
Hello. Good. How you going?
Yeah, good. Boys from Wheels just randomly.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
Well, you have got yours fully loaded. Great bike. It's a pretty beefy Kickstarter, that. Yeah.
Craig's been busy building his bike, and now he's got it all sorted. He's got it fully loaded to test it out on the sand. And with both bikes warmed up now, it's time to head north to Noosa.
Here we go.
But the first stop will be to pick up Andrew, who's joining us on the DR650.
There you go, he's yours.
And as good mates often do, Craig decides to take the piss out of Andrew's helmet.
Chips. Remember Chips? California Highway Patrol series?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that movie's really, the new movie version of that is really funny. Have you seen that?
No.
It is pretty, you must see it. It is so funny. You'll laugh your ass off, yeah. It's pretty rude.
Right, time to get going. And so, with a quick squirt up the highway, the three of us head towards Noosa. 2 DRZs and a DR650 should make for an interesting day. After crossing the river into Tewantin, we stopped to pick up a permit for Andrew's DR650. Craig had already pre-arranged ours. There's no riding on the beach without one. And what's the best way to get onto Tiwi Beach? Well, it's on the Tewantin ferry. but today it's looking a little bit crowded. And as we board the ferry, I can't help thinking, how did that old song go? Don't pay the ferryman till he gets you to the other side. Well, too late for me.
Thanks very much.
Crossing the Noosa River on the Tawantin ferry gives you some time to contemplate, and there's a slight anticipation of what's ahead of us. And as we depart the ferry, we're ready to go into battle.
Here we go. Last time was good, I still enjoyed it, don't worry. Alright, here we go. First lot of sand on the DRZ.
Getting onto Tiwi Beach is much softer and much harder than last time. I'm still feeling my way with this bike.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it, I didn't have enough momentum and I let the bike get bogged down already. It's much easier on the hard stuff. But it looks like Andrew's found his sand legs already. And so too is Craig.
Yeah.
At this time of the morning at low tide you can really enjoy this hard packed sand.
Yeah.
And with views like this, it makes for one awesome ride. This hard-packed sand is such a pleasure to ride, but don't forget to watch out for oncoming four-wheel drives. There's plenty of them.
Run up a little bit on this. No pontoons this time. Must have taken them all away.
A year ago, when I rode this beach with Craig and his father Steve, there were pontoons strewn all up and down the beach thanks to the Brisbane floods. But it looks like they've cleaned them up. But we didn't come here to ride the hard-packed sand all day. It's time to go searching for some soft stuff. There's not going to be much hard-packed sand in the desert. I'm quite happy with the setup, the suspension on the DRZ, considering it's carrying 28 litres in the tank. It just makes it a little hard to get the front up.
His back came up a bit away. Too much weight in the front of this to get it up. Get it up a little bit.
And Craig's testing out his bike too. Well, he's testing out his cruise control. And it seems to be working pretty well.
Cruise control. Keep working.
And after Craig recently had his carby tuned, there's one more test he wants to check out. Acceleration test. So with the fourth gear rolling start, let's see which DRZ has the legs on the other one. And the 07 has it by a nose.
I reckon the difference is you're in softer sand. So yeah, take that into account. Probably.
Craig also reckons it could be our physical dimensions making the difference.
I wasn't going to comment about the aerodynamics. Nah. I meant your bags.
To be fair, Craig's bike's carrying a little bit more drag with those bags, so it's probably pretty even really. Approaching the camping zone, the speed limit drops to 50 k's an hour. Just keep that in mind.
Last time we came up here, Andrew, there were pontoons all up and down the beach.
Just after
Yeah.
Just take a look at that picture postcard scenery, and with a backdrop like that, while we're taking a breather, it's a perfect opportunity to take some snapshots of the bikes.
Can I sit on your seat?
Go for it. I think Craig's is probably a bit nicer because it's a bit wider. Heavy.
It's a bit softer too.
Yeah,
But it's shaped to my arse really nicely.
yeah. That one's going to be better on the longer trip, I reckon. But
Yeah, I was a bit sceptical because you were so wide, but if
No,
you're
it's-
doing awkward stuff, you just sit more forward.
yeah, wider the better.
Yeah, it's
Reckon
nice.
this-
It's very, it's like nice. I like your handlebar setup.
Yeah, it feels good. Feels good.
It's good.
The great thing about owning a DRZ is that there are so many different ways you can personalise it to suit you. And they're cheap as chips.
$500 and I had to give it my old seat. Oh really?
Ah, it's going to be worth it.
The old seat is worth that, isn't it? Yeah, pretty much. Chuck it away. So 50? Yeah, 50 until the end of the camping though. Yeah. Alright, check. Ignition.
As both Craig and Andrew are hard enduro riders, I sort of sense that things are about to get interesting.
Yeah. Trying to film you and look where I'm going at the same time.
As both riders go searching for the soft sand, I'm just trying not to crash while I'm trying to film them.
Alright, that's a good shot. That is a good shot. That's what I'm talking about. No spatial awareness.
I'm starting to notice that Andrew is absolutely up for the challenge. And he keeps disappearing into the dunes.
It's all bush again. I'm trying to film and try not to crash at the same time. There it comes again.
Just check out Andrew's technique in the soft stuff. On the pegs, weight back, full throttle, and using his body for balance.
I'll tell you what though, if you just sort of let the bike go where it wants to go, yeah, that's right.
Off in the background, I can see Andrew is at it again.
He was flying through there, he's got about 80 k's through the same stuff. There he comes out the other side.
Just look at him go, he's having a ball. He's got it absolutely pinned through the sand.
Oh, he's challenging himself, that's good. Holes there. Ooh. I was looking at Andrew. I just looked back and there's those freaking big potholes there. Watch out. Rocks are the other thing you got to watch out on this freaking beach. Turn your front wheel into a 50-cent beach. Pretty good. He's at it again.
Nice one, boys.
Heavy DR650. Big bush peak.
As we come towards the end of the Tiwi Beach section, it's time to turn left up Leisha Track, which takes you through to Rainbow Beach Lagoon. Then straight away I'm starting to notice how soft the sand is, and I'm lacking momentum. But the hard enduro boys aren't. Look at Andrew go. Craig's not far behind him. And then Andrew managed to spin out and drop it on the sand. Wow, that sure is soft. But as soon as you hit the beginning of the track, you hit the rubber mat and the grip suddenly changes. And I think that's what caught Andrew out.
Good. Good, Andrew.
Even though the rubber mat provides a bit of extra grip, don't relax because it quickly becomes soft again. There goes Andrew again, showing us how it's done. Just check out his body positioning on the bike.
Stop behind you a bit. I was going nowhere there. Right, sit over the back a bit.
That's enough to keep you on your toes. It sure is ass-puckering stuff at times, but it's also good fun.
Rainbow Beach.
As you come to the end of the Leisha Track, you're presented with this amazing view of Rainbow Beach and Rainbow Beach Lagoon.
Look at that. Spectacular. Not bad at all. Does a bit.
Get me on video crashing? Yeah, I was right behind you. I left my brake lever up.
Oh, did you?
You done the hard bit, then you spun out on that. Yeah, it was just like a little layer of sand on top of the hard shit. I think it's that like surface they put there.
I got a flat blade screwdriver we might be able to just put underneath and bend it down.
It's not too bad.
You can still use it?
Too much, especially on the sand.
It won't happen again anyway if you drop it.
Oh, maybe. It's hot here, boys.
It is.
We go that way? Is that where we're going?
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully we can get through. If we can't, we have to come back this way. Cool. What time is it? Should be right on low tide now. Hang on. Huh?
This is what he said last time.
Yeah, don't listen to me. I'm a bad tour guide.
Last time Craig and I came through here, it was in the dark, nearly midnight. We're coming along here and there were soldier crabs, just millions of the bastards going everywhere. It was like the ground was moving in places. Like,
that's so cool.
Yeah, bit of an experience.
Get out of this heat, is it?
Yep.
This next section of Rainbow Beach is an absolute ripper.
Yep.
It's got scenery to die for, and it just goes on forever. And with picturesque scenery like that, it's hard to keep your eyes on where you're going as you thread your way through the driftwood and washed up debris.
So let's do what we did last time, just go as far as we can and turn it up. Up to you. Oh yeah, true.
In situations like this, as things start to tighten up a bit, the DRZ really comes into its own as a lightweight adventure bike. He's only just managed to catch that one. Not far up the beach, I spot Craig, who has stopped to ask these locals for a condition report of the beach ahead.
Hey, you remember last time the locals gave you advice?
Last time, the locals said it was okay, but Craig nearly drowned his 990 getting through Mudlow rocks, but he still managed to make it through to Rainbow Beach Township. But like Craig said, well, these cars made it this far up the beach, so we must be able to get through, which means we can finally complete the ride we couldn't complete 1 year ago. And realising that, all of a sudden, the energy's up and the adrenaline's flowing. So strap yourself in for this next section, because it gets a bit wild.
Going up and down, nearly. Whoa, back. What's it on? Take that? Pretty heavy in the front right?
We finally arrive at Mudlow Rocks, and we're not far from Rainbow Beach Township. And it's amazing how much this place has changed in just a year. 1 year ago, it was the scene of Craig's epic battle with the tide on his 990. But this year, it's a very different story. We finally made it, thanks to all that sand.
The hard part's when you get to a corner, you have to slow down and watch us go, ah!
And now, it's finally time to mount up and head off to our next destination, Inskip Point, but at a much more relaxing pace, at least until we get to Inskip. Inskip Point is the gateway to what was formerly known as Fraser Island. It's now known by its Aboriginal name, Gari, and it's the largest sand island in the world. And you can see it there in the background, off to my right. This next section, however, is the deepest sand that we've encountered yet, and we're going to have to cross it twice. But hey, it's all part of the fun. Well, it's good to get back on the hard stuff, but it's not as hard as I think, and I kind of let my guard down by looking over my shoulder.
Whoa! Man, I just nearly had a big lose then. You should go back and have a look at the tracks. The big ass.
Maybe I slipped on a soldier crab or something. They work in pairs, you know.
Just had a bit of a heart starter. I looked behind me and then the bike, yeah, just tank slapper. Yeah. Oh, that's it, I gotta get off. Change my DAX.
That was deep.
That was deep.
Quick photo.
Oh.
What's the desert supposed to be like? Pretty soft? Sandy. Some sand there? A little bit. Is it good? Yeah, man.
As we stop to soak up the view and take some photos of our bikes at Inskip Point, the most northern part of our journey today, I can't help but think that I've now got a new appreciation for the Suzuki DRZ400 and the 650. These are the bikes that we've chosen to do our desert crossing. And reflecting back on where we've been on today's ride, I know we made the right choice. And just look at where they've taken us today. And it's not long before the Fraser Island ferry, Manta Ray, arrives with its precious cargo of adventurers on their return trip from Fraser Island. Gari, as it's now known. So Craig decides to go in for a closer look for the unloading of the old passengers and the loading of the new passengers. As we watch these four-wheel drives load up for their new adventures, a new item has just been added to our bucket list. So, thanks again for watching part 1 of our DRZ Shakeout ride on Rainbow Beach, and stay tuned for part 2, which is just as much of an adventure. Here's a quick sneak peek of what's coming up in part 2 of our Rainbow Beach adventure. On the return leg, we make our way back into Rainbow Beach Township for lunch. We then take a sketchy sandy ride through the forest, down the freshwater track, all the way down to Tiwi Beach. And Andrew decides to stop for some fresh pippies for tonight's barbecue meal.
They open themselves.
As the sun is slowly setting, we watch some paragliders. Craig has a drop in front of an RBT.
I got it on camera, it's all good. It's official.
As we make our way back, the tide is slowly closing in.
Oh, that's a challenge and a half. Going home in the dark, I think.
No, it'll be light by the time you get home for sure.
Tomorrow morning? Yeah, I've done that before. Last time we came here.
So stay tuned for the next episode of our next moto adventure.